gate I'll always greet you. At my door you're welcome in. There can be no transgression as a means to an end. On the wind the wolves are howling, open arms are closed in fear, helping hands are clenched in anger, broken hearts beyond repair. Everything's so great, can't get better, makes me wanna cry, but I'll go out howling at the moon tonight. There she stands, so tall and mighty, with her keen and watchful eye, in the heart of a mother, holding out her guiding light. It's a hard road to travel, sold rock from end to end. The sun it rises on her brow and sets upon the great expanse. Everything's so great, can't get better, makes me wanna cry, but I'll go out howling at the moon tonight.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, party people in the place to be. What is happening, everybody, tonight? I'm Dave Valente. Thank you for joining us on the Political Deep Dive. Joined tonight, thank you, AJ. Sorry we couldn't get you on. Like I don't know what's going on with your phone.
I think it's Dave's fault. You sent me the wrong link.
It is all Dave's
I will
fault.
wear that. Yeah, that was me. But thanks for joining us at that tune. And if you like the intro tunes that I play, I've got a Spotify list that's the Political Deep Dive countdown music. Just search for that on Spotify. You can get all the great music that I play on there, including that weird one that Dan had us play a couple weeks ago.
Zombie. Oh, no, wait, which one?
No. It's that. From
Arlo.
it was that weird.
Change my name to Chrysler.
No, it was kind of that weird Italian kind of sounding one. But it was
Resposito enchilada.
The fake Italian.
Yeah, exactly. That's
the
a good
fake
one.
Italian.
Resposito enchilada. That was pretty good.
It's something like that. I can't remember exactly, but that's good. How's it going, Dave? How are things doing? Your Kennesaw State put up a valiant fight on Saturday.
Fighting the Fighting Owls Friday night. They put up a valiant effort. They came into the game a 17-point underdog to Wake Forest. They're playing at Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the Wake Forest home stadium, and came up just a point short, losing 10-9. I mean, for a team that went 2-9 last year, I'm okay with that.
Well, the thing is,
against a Power 5 school,
Wake Forest is pretty good.
Yeah, they can be. I mean, they're kind of one of those intermittent ACC teams. Like they'll have a good season, and they'll suck for a while. But
let me rephrase that. They're not a top 25 team, but I think they might be a top 150 team.
Well, there's only 138 schools
in Division One. I know
in the FBS,
but there are more teams than that play.
I'll mention something about Division One. I think yesterday Pitt played Duquesne, and they haven't played each other since something like 1939.
Yes,
and Duquesne is now a Division One school. That should be interesting.
are a Division One. Well, they've been a Division One school. In fact, my Kennesaw State Owls played them the first year that Kennesaw had or no, it was the second year they had a program.
Hmm.
Kennesaw came up to Pittsburgh and beat Duquesne.
Ah.
Yeah, it was kind of that when we first started thinking that Kennesaw might actually have a really decent program. That they're Kennesaw had the best opening 5 years of any program in Division One history.
Fascinating.
Made it to the playoffs several years. But yeah, when they started cracking down on the option offense, Kennesaw started sliding down. Our coach was heavily into the option offense, having cut his teeth at Georgia Tech. So, but yeah, it not in the best conference in FBS, which is the conference of all the brand new college football programs. This year, Missouri State and Delaware move up from FBS to FCS, I'm sorry, from FCS to FBS. So Division One has two different types of divisions. There's the football championship subdivision, which is the lower division, and that has a playoff, actual full 24 team playoff, and then FBS, which is the bowl subdivision, is the one that we're traditionally, watching with your Alabamas and your Georgias and
Which
Ohio State and Pitt and all those teams.
I find the FBS division to be a total joke. Here I am sitting in State College, pretty sure Penn State is ranked number 2 in the country. And what do these big schools do every year? The first, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 games, they play nobody. They play nobody just to rack up.
Texas. Yeah,
Pardon me?
Texas should have done that.
Yeah, they play they play Cupcake State, and usually in the middle of the season they'll have a week where they play what I call as Homecoming State. They drag up an FCS team and they pay them a lot of money to catch a beating for homecoming, so all the are happy. But that does backfire every once in a while because you will see a FCS team take out like this week. Army lost to Tarleton State out of Texas.
Yeah,
that is so great.
And I actually watched and bet on that game. Lost my bet. I took the under and Army to win by 14.5. Yeah, well, it was only a $5 bet. I mean, you parlayed them both $5 to win 18. But obviously I lost it. And the thing about it is that, like, some of the small schools, especially on where they're from, like if you play a small college from either Texas or Florida, you never know what's going to show up. And Tarleton State really did play a better game. And Army's not as good as they were last year either.
No, and some of these schools are like, if you're going to schedule somebody like a North Dakota State, watch out because you're on upset alert. Sam Houston State. Sam Houston State's now FBS, but in the past they've taken out UNM and a couple other FCS or FBS programs. So they are. I mean, it's not a guaranteed win.
Appalachian State, famous.
Oh, in Michigan, number 5 Michigan. Yeah, that was a crazy one. App State now is in the FBS,
and
they have
Slippery Rock has pulled off some huge upsets.
Yes,
yeah,
Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. The road for us.
Yeah. I didn't look to see how I'm doing in the.
Oh man, I love
political deep dive pick'em.
Yeah. Guess who's leading the pick'em?
Who? Daryl. You are?
Yeah, 6-2. Well, probably 7-2 with the. I believe South Carolina won that game, so I'm 7-2 for the week. One more game to play tonight, which is Notre Dame and Miami, which is going on now. So. Yeah, you're not having a good week, man.
I didn't think so. Well, especially once Texas lost, I'm like, yeah, and that was a terrible game too.
Hey, Janice, I think people are reacting too strongly to Arch Manning. Like, I think the part of the problem is that they ranked Texas number 1 with a quarterback who's taken very few snaps in the last 2 years.
But you know what? I mean, if he couldn't look, Quinn Ewers is not an NFL quarterback. And if Arch Manning couldn't beat him out last year, then that says something to me about his
Well,
ability.
I will tell you that any young quarterback or any young player, if you're
Yeah.
a 5-star recruit,
Yeah.
don't go to Texas, don't go to Georgia, don't go to
Yeah.
the big schools because you're going to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
Go to Kennesaw State, go to Pitt, go to Pitt's
Go to
a decent.
IUP.
Yeah, go to a smaller school. You get 2 years of experience, and with the transfer portal now, you can go to Georgia or go to Texas as a highly sought after quarterback if you perform well during your times at those smaller schools.
Yeah, but he's making, we talked about it,
Oh,
$6.8 million
NIL.
this year for NIL, which you wouldn't make in a smaller school. He's making more money than Joe Flacco. Now, I should point out that once you get a Cornhusker on the conversation, Mercedes is going to tell us about the big win over Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy it. That was a good win. I don't know what Big Red's going to do this year, but better to start a season that way than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, this week, actually, let me introduce everybody. We got Joe Slosky joining us tonight. Joe, how you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thank
Yeah.
you all for having me. It's great to see you all.
Yeah, good to see you. Dan, of course, we've been talking with Dan. Dan, how you doing, sir?
Whatever.
Whatevs.
Whatevs. Yeah.
And then Ari, how you doing, Ari? Your mic
Your audio is not good. I'm going to mention though that my day got a little better because I was unpacking some stuff and I found my Star Trek playing cards.
Nice.
I packed away.
Are they nude?
They're not nude. Let's see what I got here. So, for example, on the Six of Diamonds, The Enemy Within, which is the first episode where McCoy says, "He's dead, Jim."
He's dead, Jim.
Yeah.
Damn it, Jim.
I just want to say, if they're nude, I just want to see the Uhura cards. Thank you.
Nice.
All right, here's a trivia question. What language is Uhura, her name, and what does it mean?
It's Swahili, isn't it?
It is indeed Swahili.
Can't remember what Uhura is, though.
I believe it means
goddess of the night. How's that for a guess?
I think it means freedom.
Freedom, nice.
Yeah. Yes,
Dan,
it means freedom.
Dan dropping the early trivia.
Yeah, well, we've got, luckily, when this reverts into a Star Trek trivia game, I am here for it.
There you go.
Although
we do have end of summer trivia from CNN today.
We should do that sometime. Good. Maybe one of these weeks we make it a Star Trek trivia thing.
Well, a general trivia, like just bring it, because there's a lot of
whole hour and a half of trivia.
Oh heck yeah!
There are like trivia questions, and we can give away prizes.
Yeah, sure.
Dan's
kidney.
Dan's kidney. You know what I was thinking about? Again, so I was cleaning the office, and I discovered that I have a bunch of these still.
No.
How about that?
Would like to win a Dan Fishman for State Auditor pin. I think many people
would.
You
go.
I need one of those.
It's a fair question. That log, I was too lazy to my electric chainsaw had come out cut up the battery, finished, and I was too lazy to go back with another chainsaw. So I decided to hump it out, as we would say, and that's like probably
kink shaming.
Yeah, that at my age, that's probably my limit. I think that was probably about 200 pounds, and that is
good God, man,
for fireman carry. Anything more than that, I was thinking about it at the time, and I'm like, this probably isn't the smartest thing I've done.
I mean, that's like hernia
spine compression, stuff like that. Well, but firemen do it all the time. So
yeah, but they train on doing that all the time.
They train on doing that all the time.
Yeah.
So it was. I mean, it's interesting. A big log like that, you've got it like this, standing up, and that part's easy because you can just stand it up and lift on itself. And then you put your shoulder into it, and you just find the middle, and then it's not that much of a lift because you actually lower your legs and it rolls onto your shoulder, and then you stand up. So it wasn't that bad. And I don't want to say anybody, but I think most people who have been athletic in their life can probably deadlift 200 pounds, just because that's what you're carrying around on your legs most of the time anyway. So,
I am.
one of my last thing before I distract us, if you ever want to like marvel at the body, stand on one leg and then elevate yourself up onto your toes and realize that your calf muscle can lift your entire friggin' body off the ground. It's ridiculous.
Now that you said it, you realize we're all going to be trying this after
Now I'm
this
going to fall
show.
over.
Yeah, you do it. And
Ari, I don't know what's going on with your mic, Ari, but we're not hearing anything here.
We're not. It's not that we're ignoring you, Ari.
Yeah.
We can't hear you.
And Dan, I'd just like to say that if you, I would love to have one of those Dan Fishman. If you would like to trade one of those out for a Joe Solosky for governor bumper sticker, I'm game.
There we go.
We'll make that one happen.
Free trade. Free trade.
All right. Speaking of free trade.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Hold on. We're talking about this. Yeah. Nice. We're talking about Intel.
Intel Inside.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to put on my patriotic glasses.
Here we go.
Very nice.
He's locked and loaded.
Last week we got word that the federal government is taking a 10% stake in Intel Corporation. So way this is broken down, so that we have all the information. I don't know if it's actually been realized yet, but the government now is going to own 9.9 to 10% of equity stake in Intel by converting previously awarded federal funds into shares. So $5.7 billion out of the CHIPS Act, the Chips and Science Act, and approximately $3.2 billion from the Department of Defense's Secure Enclave program, which will essentially amounts to $8.9 to $11.1 billion worth of conversion of funds into shares into Intel. These are it's a passive stock, so they're not getting a board seat technically. We can debate that, whether they will have any actual say in what goes on in the boardroom of Intel, or whether they already have a say in what's going on in the boardroom of Intel, but they don't have any governance rights and no special access to insider information. Sure, Jan.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that if you think about just all of the major problems that have that, first let's talk about the fact that the CHIPS Act was meant to incentivize, incent means to make angry, incentivize American companies to bring chip manufacturing back home. Right now, almost every computer chip worth mentioning is made outside of the United States. And so this was supposed to be money that was an award for bringing these things back home. But now it's not an award anymore because Intel is giving up some of their stock, some of their company to doing this. And it's not happening in a vacuum because 3 months ago, Trump criticized the CEO of Intel publicly. Well, not publicly, but on Truth Social, which, I saw that I saw that Trump's tweet had like 4,000 likes on it. So that's not a lot for social media. So Trump criticized him, said the CEO of Intel should be fired, all sorts of stuff. And then suddenly they make a deal to make Trump happy. And then he says, brilliant CEO of Intel, one of the great CEOs in the United States. And there's a lot of that stuff happening, right? All around the world in politics and business, etc. Trump threatens somebody and they submit.
They cave. Yeah, they cave.
Yeah, they cave.
They taco.
Yeah, they taco because it's not worth the hassle, because if the government wants to make give your company a hard time, they really can. And especially for a company that relies so much on government contracts.
Oh yeah.
It is a huge deal. So it's interesting. Intel is based in Santa Clara, Silicon Valley. I believe they started in either Oregon or Washington and then moved down there afterwards. I'm not 100% sure, but they are the biggest chip manufacturer. They are the biggest computer chip company around in terms of design, but you don't make things like that anymore in the United States. It's just not practical to make computer chips in the United States.
No.
Trump
Yeah.
wants
I
to
mean,
bring those jobs back. Go ahead.
yeah. There's again, it's the whole Trump wanting to bring manufacturing jobs, computer chips, auto manufacturing back to the United States. But we spent so long trying to we've spent so much money on talking about the idea that Biden created all this inflation, and the way that the Federal Reserve does, it creates inflation. And by bringing all these things back to the United States, you're just turbocharging inflation when it comes to because it costs way more to produce a chip in the United States than it does to do it in Taiwan or Vietnam or in one of these other countries where they produce chips. There's just no reason for us to do some of these things, because the you know even if you slap a tariff on a lot of this stuff, it's still cheaper than manufacturing in the United States.
Absolutely. Well, you got
Um,
a bunch of people in power right now that know nothing about economics. We got to ride this out till we can be rid of them.
And I think, looking at it from the Intel perspective, I think submitting now, because they know, the one thing that we know is that the administration does have a finite amount of time remaining. Now, Trump could manufacture a crisis, and I wouldn't put it past him to manufacture a crisis. You can be lucky to have Trump. No, we are not lucky to have Trump. Trump is a moron. Um, uh, but there is a finite amount of time, and I think companies are making the decision to ride it out. And then once Trump leaves office, you know, try and hope that we forget about what they did during the Trump years. I think a lot of people are making that decision, is we can cooperate for now, knowing that Trump will be gone by 2029 at the latest. Although there's been rumors this whole weekend about weekend at
Sure.
Trump's, but I think we are. Yeah, I think companies are kind of like, all right, let's just ride this out. We'll ride it out like we did the first term, and then
Exactly.
we'll try and return back to a normal semblance. But
Yeah.
the one thing that we know about about corporations and the government is that once it grabs a power like this, it doesn't matter who's in power, Democrat, Republican, they're not going to give this kind of power up.
Well,
They're going to want
this
to use it for themselves.
this is classic, uh, classic assemblage of state power, because it begins with one company and then it goes to others. So there's already talk about defense contractors, the Defense Department taking a stake in defense contractors. So Raytheon, Boeing, McDonnell Douglas, trying to think of the other one, Blackwater Stone, whatever the hell they are.
Yeah. Whatever they became. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is classic Germany, 1936.
Yeah.
Okay, in 1936, after the National Socialist Party comes to power, one of the first things they do is nationalize the armaments industry so that they can start cranking up their armaments. And it's very convenient because when the government controls the company, right, they can put a lot of people to work. They can award a lot of government contracts. So everybody thinks, oh, this looks great. Look, we're getting full employment because the government is, doing bullshit things with the money and hiring a lot of people and putting them to work. And here we are in this same situation where the government is now. I don't think that I don't know. I don't think that the government is going to is ramping up to a invasion of Sudetenland, which is the part of Czechoslovakia. But did you also see the news that American espionage agents were discovered in Greenland?
No.
They're trying
Yeah.
to essentially buy land and
Yeah.
sow dissent and all the fun stuff that we learned from Operation Ajax.
Yeah.
Yeah, this world is a
Right.
mess.
It is a mess. And the Intel thing it seems innocuous. It seems like it's tip of the iceberg. But the reality of it is that computers are so critical to everybody's life right now. And the world is becoming more and more computerized. And when you have an independent computer company, at least they're not working hand in hand with the government. But as an example of what happens when a computer company does work hand in hand in the government, if you buy a hard drive that was made in China, there's a very good chance that it has spyware installed in a system in the cache on the hard drive. Spyware that comes from the Chinese government, because the disk is made in China, they control it. I am sure that part of the real danger of the US owning Intel is that there's going to be intelligence backdoors into every computer chip. So now the encryption is an example of how great encryption is. Let me recommend this to everybody right now. If you haven't seen the Citizen 4 movie with
Edward
exploited
Snowden.
Edward Snowden,
Yeah.
one of the things that happened is, so spoiler alert, Snowden lives in Russia now. But in the very beginning, Edward Snowden wants to communicate with Glenn Greenwald. Snowden is working at the NSA, but he starts emailing him anonymously in the beginning and says, look, I've got this great story for you, but you have to be able to install PGP, which stands for Pretty Good Protection. It's an encryption system that you can put on your email. And then your email is digitally signed, and it'll plug into Gmail, plugs into almost any mail service you want to use. And then nobody can read your email except for you and the person that you send it to. Snowden tries to get Greenwald to install it. Greenwald can't do it. He is just, technically, that is not his thing. However, there's a film producer, Laura Poitras, who had made the Abu Ghraib documentary. And Snowden knows that the NSA and the CIA are trying to read her email, but they can't because she's using PGP. So he knows that from the other side. Like, he sees the report, very frustrating, unable to break her PGP encryption, blah, 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 blah. And this is just free, open source encryption that's available to anybody. So he ends up contacting her. When the government controls Intel, Intel is going to be obligated to make deals with the government, saying, sure, we can give you backdoors for breaking encryptions. We can, when our chip is asked to do this thing, do that thing instead, because the government asked us to do it. And, there are scenarios in which the government has had forced company to do certain things. Like, who was the company who was forced to make ventilators for a while? I can't remember, but Trump ordered. Was it GM? During COVID,
No, I remember it was the Defense Production Act that they used.
They used the Defense Production Act to order GM and other, I think, car manufacturers to create ventilators for the hospitals. As it turned out, that was a huge mistake, and we didn't need the ventilators.
No,
but whatever. That sort of thing, the government can do that, and when they have an ownership in the company, it becomes even crazier. So if you're a person who uses a computer or a computer affects your life in any manner, we're going to have a problem with the government controlling Intel.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean,
Go ahead.
here are some reasons why it's a bad idea to have a government involved in a corporation, especially as we as a country have hit out at places like China for having state ownership of companies like Huawei, who make cell phones,
Yep.
TikTok, um, you know the sheer hypocrisy of us going after these companies and preventing them from accessing markets because they have Chinese government stake in them. We've now put Intel under this. So Intel is a global corporation. It is not, yeah, it's based in the United States, but it's a global corporation. It
Right.
provides chips to many companies and many governments. And
Yeah.
as a foreign government, do you really want to start using Intel stuff now, knowing that the United States has a stake in it?
Yeah. I think that the real problem there is exactly that by making Intel seem more dangerous. And again, going back to Citizen 4, and Vertun's talking about Germany, famously, the government bugged Angela Merkel's phone, right?
Yes.
They were listening to everything she said. She was the chancellor of Germany. Why would a company want to, or a country want to buy technology that is potentially infused with American spyware? Same
Yeah.
reason that they shouldn't buy stuff that's infused with Chinese spyware, right? The argument that Trump is making why TikTok is too dangerous for American citizens to have is the same argument that you can use against why the government shouldn't be invested in Intel. And what's crazy is the people who should be leading this charge are the Trump supporters, right? The people who fear the big deep state. And if you fear the big deep state, you don't want your government to be involved. And yet, what's happened? Are any of the Trump people complaining about this? Actually, I have to say, I've seen more pushback from Trump supporters around this than I thought I would. Huh?
Well, I've seen more Trump supporter pushback on Epstein than I have on this. And I think it goes to the whole idea that Trump supporters and the two big parties are willing to really just step on the stated principles of their party. It doesn't really matter that the Democrats go and fight a bunch of wars because it's a Democrat leading it. And for the Republicans, it doesn't matter that we're into huge state socialism as long as Donald Trump is leading it. Like we are the big parties have just, we don't care what our leaders do because they're doing it in the name of our party and we want them to look good. Kudos to people who are, if you're stepping out of line on your party because they are, because they're going against your stated principles, kudos to you. But we're not seeing enough of it. We talked about.
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, we talked about this week that I think Trump's big wet dream is the idea that somebody's going to take a shot or throw a Molotov cocktail or do something against a National Guardsman somewhere, one of the cities that he throws them into. And the moment that happens, that Trump has the pretext to declare martial law. And one of my, some of my friends have pushed back and said, I think at that point, you'll see people off ramp from the Trump and push back. There have been so many things that Donald Trump has done in the, either one of his terms that have not been a deal breaker that I don't think him declaring martial law will be a deal breaker for those folks.
I mean, it's interesting though, because the president can't really declare martial law, right? I mean, it's not constitutional by any stretch of the imagination.
He's not going to do anything constitutional.
No,
let's just ignore that idea.
But so then what happens is I think that we might see an interesting situation where I mean, I wonder what's going to happen in Illinois because I do think Chicago is where it's happening.
Oh yeah.
Um, and so, what's going to happen when Pritzker demands control of the Illinois National Guard? And Trump says, I'm going to federalize the National Guard and take over it. Now, we know that technically he's supposed to have that power. However, it's supposed to be an emergency situation.
Yeah.
And so the question becomes, I mean, there's actually a huge case coming before the court, right? And the Supreme Court just announced their docket. And there's a bunch of, crazy stuff on it. But the big one isn't one that's on the docket. It's the tariff appeal, okay? Because the tariffs were declared illegal by a federal court. It's going to go to the Supreme Court. And in this scenario, what's going to happen? I don't know. But I think that the Supreme Court is going to say, because the Trump people who the people think are Trump people aren't really Trump people. They're strict constitutionalists. Now, that means they're not Democrats, but the Constitution is crystal clear as to whether or not the president has the power to enact tariffs. And the answer is only in the time of an emergency.
Yeah.
There's no declared emergency. And so I think that this court will say, they will confirm the district court's ruling that the president does not have the power to enact tariffs.
I don't know. I think Trump has put enough pressure on members of the Supreme Court. His sycophants have put enough pressure on members of the Supreme Court, including Amy Coney Barrett. I think has been not a strong supporter of Donald Trump on the court, but I think she has put enough pressure, or had enough pressure put on her that she's been brought kind of into line. Because I think the last few rulings from the court, where you would expect the court to take more of a better stance on the constitutionality of Donald Trump ejecting people and things like that she's voted in line with the administration. So I'm not hopeful on the Supreme Court. Every once in a while they pleasantly surprise me, but I don't know. Plus, I don't think they're going to be able to apply the emergency acts on tariffs to the emergency acts on taking over the National Guard troops. I don't think that they could apply that ruling.
Right, I agree with that.
And now would end up having to go through the courts all the way up to the Supreme Court, and who knows how long that's going to take.
Well, no, you can get emergency relief. So the court talked about
if they want to give it.
Yes, but I believe that they can ask for emergency relief and be heard right away. Now, the court might say we're not going to give it to you. That's true, but that would be pretty shocking to me. But that's why I say it's pretty important. We're about to find out how far this court is willing to go, and I think with Gorsuch and Roberts and the Democrats, there is and I don't think the other man that Trump appointed, I can't think of his name right now, Reinhardt.
There's Gorsuch, Barrett, and
right,
Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh, right. I don't know where Kavanaugh would fall, but Gorsuch is a very strict constitutionalist.
Gorsuch has not been a bad. He's had some sketchy votes, but
he's going to be a constitutionalist. And the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of shit that Democrats did that is being reversed now that clearly was also unconstitutional. Okay?
Oh yeah.
They enhanced the power of the government, and the problem is, and what libertarians have always complained about, and what our friend Vertoon doesn't seem to get, is that a powerful government is the enemy of the people.
Yes.
More so than any external threat.
I mean, have you actually fought Afghan gang in Germany? Because I think a lot of people get scared. You see news, and news will hype up things like during our election we had people saying that Haitian immigrants were eating dogs, and there are these massive gangs in Aurora, Colorado, which is a pretty white bread suburb of Denver, you
Right.
know, I think
Ge-
I think
Germany
the media he
outside
hypes up a
the
lot of
world.
stuff. And if you haven't seen it personally, I think you should really dig
Well,
into media.
the other thing I'll say is that, it is clear that Europe has immigration problems because, and, part of it has to do with, how many million refugees from Syria and other things that happened along the way. But part of that is Europe is, a very homogeneous society, right? I mean, they're all white, right? They have no experience with dealing with that. And they got to get better at it. But the other
Yeah.
thing that makes a big difference in the United States, in terms of, did we ever have lawless days where you couldn't count on the police? Of course.
Yeah.
The core of America is
It's
Second Amendment.
romanticized. It's romanticized. You think about the Wild West. It
Exactly.
was absolutely
Right.
romanticized here.
Right. A police officer in the United States will tell you the reason, and most police officers support private ownership of guns. And because they are, of course, private gun owners themselves, but they'll tell you you should absolutely own a gun because the police are only minutes away. And so that's the thing. And I think that, if you were to see, I think Sweden is having the most difficulty with immigration in Europe right now. But I think that you'll see that Europe in general is up to the challenge. The answer is not, the radical right
Yeah,
that
not going to the
keeps trying to
AfD.
rise. In
Yeah, not
reality, what
running to the
happens?
arms of the AfD or Marine Le Pen's party
E-
in France or
Exactly.
the
Generally,
UKIP
generally what
in
happens?
England.
Yeah. Generally, what happens is that right, Europe, in general, birth rates are down. Um, the the population is down, and almost every country in the world is relying on influx of immigrants to maintain their population now. The fact of the matter is that as people get more educated, they start to realize, unless they have a fanatical reason to do something else, they start to realize there's only finite amount of resources. We can provide a better life for our children if we don't have as many. And so that's why population is, slowly decreasing. And you see it everywhere around the world, right? Japan is having huge problems right now. The real problem, and again, this comes back to the big state, and we talk about Intel and what it means is that the biggest threat to every person all the time is their own government.
Yes.
Your government doesn't keep you safe. Like we talk about the fact we say, well, actually, that's not true. So we say this in the United States a lot of times, right? If you want a place where you have guaranteed safety, where you have guaranteed medical care, where you have guaranteed room and board, we have that in the United States. And it's called prison. And if you want to go live in prison, you get room and board, you get your health care, you get security.
You get 3 square
But you
meals a day.
lose
And
your
let's face
liberty.
it, nobody in this world incarcerates more people than the United States of America.
Yeah. Come on over.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily, too.
Yeah.
Right. And it's
But-
not the job of the American government to make sure that its companies are under control. That's the job of the Chinese government. The Chinese government makes sure that its companies are under control. That's not for us.
Hmm.
And security is your own responsibility. It's
Yeah.
not your country's responsibility. It's your responsibility.
So
So, yeah, you can't.
Although Germany may be a different.
It's it's still the same thing because I know that private gun ownership is very difficult to do in Germany. I've been on a hunting trip in Germany, and it was a big deal.
Yeah.
We had to go through a lot to be able to, for the people who brought their own guns, they had to go through quite a bit. It was, I mean, like anything, it's about money, right? If you're willing to pay a couple $1,000s, Germany will let you bring your own guns for a hunting trip. However,
How many beers did you have?
So Here's my question, Dan. Dan, if it was so difficult, and I'm sure it was, why did you
Yeah.
bother when you could have gone so many other places and had a much easier time of it? Australia.
Have you had the beer?
I happened to be there.
Oh.
So that was the thing. And in this
Okay.
case, yeah, I was traveling with a person for who money was no issue.
Okay.
And here's another secret I'll let you in on. The very wealthy don't use passports. They fly private into an airport somewhere, and they just get off and they walk into the country.
Yes, they do.
And they don't check in or anything like that. And I know that because my friend who had arranged everything was the PA for this person. PA means personal assistant for people who don't know.
Interesting.
And she got to the airport. They were flying out of a little international airport in New Jersey. This person is a big business person in New York. And she got there and she's like, oh my God, I forgot my passport. She's like, he's like, you don't need your passport. They get on the plane. They fly directly to Munich because it was in Bavaria. And then I happened to be traveling through Europe at the time. And I was in high school. I was in a postgraduate year. And so we met up. And it was awesome. But, this guy was a duck hunter. And he liked his shotguns. And he brought them in. And that's what they did. So, wow. Any country, any country, it's the people who are responsible for safety and security, and not the government.
Yes.
And when you empower the government to be responsible,
you relinquish your liberty.
Exactly. And so, it's sad to see, somebody advocating for a larger government and a larger state and sacrificing their security, because people like that really are the enemies of liberty.
Absolutely.
Yeah, look, I'm feeling a lot less secure in my country because my country is becoming a lot more
fascist.
Fascist.
We are becoming more like Germany.
Yeah, we are in a situation where our freedoms are being eroded, and now it becomes an idea of people starting to be declared enemies of the state, and
Exactly.
we're building concentration camps, whether they call them private prisons or whatever. We're building those, even though thank God Alligator Alcatraz is being cleared out, but they're just going to build more. They're building one at Fort Bliss. They're building them all over the place.
Right. And every time the government says that they are declaring war on something, war on drugs, war on illegal immigrants, war on whatever, it's always actually a war on people. And the government should not be fighting a war on people.
Yes.
Okay? The government is supposed to be of the people, by the people, and for the people. And when we get to a chance that the government exceeds its power and gives itself the power to declare war on the people, on any people, then it becomes a problem. And the president isn't supposed to do it anyway, right? The president can't declare war. So Here we are in a situation where you see people like this advocating for strong defense against undocumented workers without realizing that the real problem is that you are actually declaring war on the people who want to hire them, who want to come to the country and work, the people who make great citizens. We want a country where everybody who wants to work hard should come here. Everybody who wants to work hard should come to the United States.
Yes.
And socialists,
here's the thing.
I was just going to say, socialists don't want that.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Everybody in this country came here. Their ancestors came here. I don't care if you are the most Native American person in the world. I don't care if you literally came here yesterday from some other country. Everybody had an origin story that came from outside of this continent. Man did not develop in North America, where they developed in Africa and spread out from there. And moved along and came across the ice bridge, and some came across in boats. But we don't have a really, 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 really Aboriginal native population. We do have people who've been here a lot longer than Native Americans. Um, but uh, everybody here is tied to an immigrant story of one way or the other, whether you are coming across from land bridge or whether you came across an Ellis Island or whether you just came across the border yesterday or flew
Well,
across the border.
yeah, I think you only have immigration if you have a state, right? So everybody who came before the state, there's no real immigration. You just moved, you walked.
You
But the
migrate.
thing about it is that why does that matter?
It doesn't.
The Guess Who guy said U.S. is not a job program for people who are poor. 100% wrong. The U.S. is an association of people who have liberty in their lives. And the way that a job is created is that an entrepreneur sees an opportunity that he can spend this amount of money for this person's labor and make more money out of it. That's it. That's how a job is created. It has nothing to do with government. It has with an entrepreneur saying, I want to spend this money to employ this worker because we will make more money out of it. And that means you ought to be able to hire whoever you want. Okay. And if that person lives in Mexico, if that person lives in Canada and they live in India and they're going to come into the United States, that is better for the United States.
Yeah.
Okay. It is better for the United States that an educated or hardworking person comes in and takes a job. And if that job doesn't go to an American citizen, that's fine. That is exactly what we're talking about. The United States is not supposed to be a jobs program. We're not supposed to guarantee jobs, right? Everybody complains about unions and how unions have a monopoly. A union is just as bad, whether it's a union of states or a private union. When the union of states says you can't hire this person because they're from Mexico, or you can't hire this person because they're from India, that's just pure socialism. And whatever it is, the United States is the last best hope in the world against socialism. And now we have a socialist.
It's racing right towards the socialist daddies. So
exactly right. We have a socialist elected president, and the real socialists, right? And the real socialists guise themselves Trump just wanted to legalize flag burning, and there's the Molly Ivins quote about this that I'd rather have somebody who burns the flag and wraps themselves in the Constitution than burns the Constitution and wraps themselves in the flag.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where we want to be. The real socialists are the ones who are interested in saying, make flag burning illegal.
All right. Let the peanut gallery continue their thing. But let's talk more about Intel and what.
Okay.
Here, there are 6, I would say, hazards that come with government ownership in a corporation. One, market distortion. You have a company that's being owned by the federal government. You're putting pressure on the rest of the market to either fall in line with what's going on. It blurs the line between regulation and competitor.
Right.
What about the other chip makers? AMD, Nvidia, Qualcomm, all these other chip makers, are they expected to?
But yes, you're exactly right. There's a lot of history of this too. So in the 70s, the Labour Party nationalized a lot of British industry. Okay, essentially took it over. British Aerospace, they created British Air. British Leyland, which produces Land Rover, Jaguar, Austin, and Morris. They took that over. And they were terrible at all of it. And what actually happened? It ended up being much worse for the country because who now owns Land Rover, right?
Ford, right?
Huh?
Isn't it Ford? Owns Land Rover?
Ford. It's now owned by a company called Tata in India. India, former colony, owns Land Rover.
The student has become the master.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And so here you are. You're right that at one point in time, Ford did own it. But what
Yeah.
happened is that when the government took it over, then it got out of control.
Yeah.
And they
So,
fucked
you're,
it up
you're,
because
you're,
government can't even run the post office.
well,
So that guy should be banned for language. If you could boot him out for your Twitch stream. Everybody else, I don't mind. But the rest of the stuff, I'll let you figure it out.
Let's see.
The issue with Intel, and we talked about the fact that it means that all of your computer chips are going to have government spyware in them.
Yeah. But it also reduces
reduces the competition.
Competition reduces innovation. Like there's no reason
Yep.
to innovate. There's the moral hazard that, the company's going to see itself as too big to fail, or that the United States has a stake in it. So they don't take as many risks as they would if they were a corporation trying to fend off natural competitors. So there's the moral hazard aspect of it. The geopolitical signaling, again, I talked about how we're going after companies like TikTok and Huawei, but we're doing the same thing with Intel and a number of other corporations. The whole slippery slope argument about, it's Intel today. What if it's Boeing tomorrow? What if it's Tesla? What if it's another? We just start demanding stakes of other companies.
It's a great example too of how unsafe it becomes, because if the government starts to take shares in defense contractors, that's terrible for our armed forces, because now you don't have the competition making the best thing that you can, right? One of the things that's been really critical in the success of the American armed forces is that we always have the best of everything. But we have the best of everything because people compete for the government contracts to make either, look at the F-35, right? Dominatingly the best plane in the world.
Yes.
Or, we talk a little bit about guns or other things. U.S. technology on the battlefield is unrivaled. And it's unrivaled because we have intense rivalry between different competitors to fulfill the contract for the government. When that goes away, you start to get Russian-based tanks. And a great example of that is, like, you see the tanks that are being built in Russia. The best tanks that Russia can make are getting their asses kicked by Bradley APCs. Drones is a fascinating thing, but in direct battle with Bradley APCs. Okay, for those people who don't know, APC is an armored personnel carrier. It's essentially
It's not
an armored.
It's not a tank, but it's
an armored bus, but it has a big gun on it. Not a gun strong enough to blow up a tank, but
yes, drones are the future of warfare. But
warfare always changes. It is a battle between armor and warhead. And in fact, you see the Russians being very effective in the last month with tanks with big cages built around them with chain link fences. Because if a drone explodes 3 feet away from a tank, it doesn't do shit.
Yeah.
And so you see and that guy should also be banned. But you start to see this advancement, and I guarantee you that American tanks are very quickly coming up with external EMPs that essentially destroy everything running electricity outside of the tank area. So they're going to start taking drones out.
EMPs are a dangerous thing that could really fuck everyone's life up if you get it in the wrong place. But
the problem is, of course, that all of that stuff is going to be run by AI, which is based on Intel chips, and the government owns them. So instead of getting the best AI chips that we could get, we're getting these shitty future chips because only one company is getting those contracts.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole part of that. No, too big to fail, but also what if Intel let's say Intel revolutionizes something, and now like a third of their workforce is no longer needed. Like they've done something to build in efficiency in their. Now they've got government saying, "Oh no, you can't fire a third of your workforce, your domestic workforce, because that'll look bad in our jobs report, or that's
Yeah.
a bad look." So now they have corporate governance issues about, can they run their company as they see fit? Now, again, people are going to say the United States government doesn't have a voting share, but when the United States government owns 10% of your company, I don't care if they actually have an official board position, they're going to have a say on what you do.
Well, and the government's going to say, who do
Well,
we give the contract to?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
and even
Even
if
if
it's
they don't have shares.
10%, Joe the CPA here, I long ago learned that 50% or more is controlling interest, 20% or more is significant influence. 10% can be just as significant depending on who you are and what you own.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's the federal government. Like and I've always said that the reason why there's so much money in politics and because there's so much money in government, and it's
Right.
better than playing the stock market because you can just give a few dollars here and there to senator here or house member there who's on an influential committee, and you reap 30
Yes.
times that in government contracts. Now, Intel has got they've got a legal way to give the government 10% of their company and now have an in on all of the
Exactly.
government contracts.
Yes.
Exactly. It's such a dangerous situation. And the thing is that we all, how do we fix it? Okay. It's enough we've started bitching about it. Now, how do we fix it? Everybody has to be committed in their conversation to saying it's always bad when the government controls a business. And I'm going to give everybody 3 examples to talk about. The first one, we've talked about it before. It used to be that the way the taxi business worked, the way that the hired ride service worked, was that the government sold medallions that taxis could buy, and then they would drive around. But they had no competition. The government was giving them a monopoly, and you couldn't have more medallions than the taxi industry thought was worthwhile. So the number of taxis was scarce to keep prices up. And then Uber came in. The young kids don't remember what taxis used to be like.
Right.
But taxis were filthy.
Yeah.
Right? You would get in. If you were lucky, you brought some newspaper with you and you would put it down on the seat and sit on the newspaper. The last urine smell all the time. The last time I took an Uber and I smelled urine, it was my own. So
what I found amazing, and I've only taken an Uber one time, but the guy pulled up in a Lincoln. It was immaculate. I was like, "Holy cow! What the hell is this?"
Oh, I know. Yeah, sometimes you feel like you're getting like super like rich guy service,
Yeah, and if you want to see the benefit of having free enterprise, not controlled by government, when you ride in an Uber, you see people who are busting their ass to be the best ride and provide the best service for you that they possibly can because you rate them, right? And there's a rating app
review.
Yeah, exactly. And so, invariably, it's the last time I went to see Jeremy, my Uber driver was also a Sherpa, like genetically a Sherpa from Nepal. And he lived in Colorado during the off season and drove Uber, but he gave me his card. He's like, if you ever want to go mountain climbing, I take trips all through Colorado, blah, 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 blah. I'll carry all your stuff for you, et cetera, et cetera. It was amazing. So example 1 of government fucking everything up. Example 2 is pretty obvious. The post office, right? The post office performs a critical service, okay? The idea that mail should be deliverable to every address is a really good idea. but it's not an idea that is based on a realistic cost analysis, because the amount of money it takes to send a first-class letter from my house to, let's just say, Nome, Alaska, in the United States, okay, it's more than 50 cents. So, or however much, I don't even know how much a stamp is right now, but however much a
It's
first-class stamp is.
78 cents now.
It is unrealistic to expect the government to just eat those costs of delivering mail. And you know what? There's a lot of stuff that you could do to make it cheaper. Instead of having daily mail delivery in Nome to every house in Nome, how about once a week we drop all the mail off that's supposed to go into Nome? Okay, and we deliver it to Anchorage, and then once a week goes in there. Is that really it becomes much more thing? But because the government's doing it, the government has to do it in this stupid way. Private companies would be much better at it. And then the last one, we've talked about this before. It used to be that, Dave, Joe, and I all grew up in an era when it was illegal in the United States to own a telephone. All the telephones were owned by AT&T, and you had to rent them.
Yes.
And that was because of a thing called the Kingsbury Commitment. And in fact, the AT&T used to work really hard to try to catch people who had extra phones in their house. Okay, if two people were talking at the same time, they'd catch you on the line. But in the end, what happened was AT&T is like, you know what? This thing in the Kingsbury Commitment, it's hurting us. We want to end our government-sponsored monopoly. That happened in 1980. From 1911 to 1980, the phones didn't change at all. They changed a little bit in terms of appearance, but they still had the same connector to the wall, because part of the Kingsbury Commitment said that AT&T promised that they wouldn't use their advantage to force people to buy new phones. But in return for that, they won the ability that nobody could have a phone. They had to rent their phones from AT&T. So from 1911, which had more innovation in telephones? 1911 to 1980 or 1980 to 1990?
Oh,
Just
God,
that,
yeah.
10 years
80
of
to
nothing.
90.
I got that. I got the Sports Illustrated football phone, man.
Football phone was pretty good. I got one of those Razor flip phones. Man, that thing was amazing. It all happened because government didn't control those industries. And so the last thing I think we want to say is that we know that what's happening with Intel is terrible. And what we need is everybody on this show, everybody who's listening, to be able to say it's a terrible problem. And there's a reason why government should control industry.
So
and then you can
here's
give
a
these three
question.
examples.
Here's a question. When Donald Trump leaves office, if he's still living, always a question. Does he take the 10% stake of Intel with him? Just like he did with like he's trying to do with the Qatari plane.
Just like he did with those nuclear documents that he kept in Mar-a-Lago.
Exactly, yeah. Some light bathroom reading.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm going to add something here, and Dan might connect to this, but you made reference just now to Sports Illustrated, correct? And
yes.
I'll just refer back to the infamous issue that led its cover saying, "Zowie, it's Maui." You might know what I'm talking about.
This is a Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition.
Yes, 1977, my dear friend. Zowie, it's Maui.
Yeah, it's interesting because we were talking about what was the context we were talking about this in? What the British press refers to as lads magazines, Maxim, stuff like that, and how those are, as much as at one point in time they're because it seems like what's happening is that Maxim readers have taken over the United States culturally.
Okay.
You see a lot of talk, right? Pete Hegseth has talked about repealing the 19th Amendment. There's a lot of talk about women not working anymore and staying home,
Trad wives. Yeah.
trad wives, stuff like that. And it's first of all, again, let me just recognize my privilege here. And when I say it's a scary time, I say that as a cis white male,
Yeah.
who, well, when I lose the beard, I don't look that Jewish. With the beard, it's a little more difficult. But in general, I don't experience overt discrimination against me, which is different from the experience of every woman every day.
Yeah.
Where, that I just rewatched the Barbie movie, which I can't recommend enough. But America Ferrara's little speech about how it's impossible to be a woman in this world, where they have expectations that you're supposed to be pretty but not too pretty. You're supposed to be, funny but not too funny. You're supposed to be thin, and all this other shit. And you're not supposed to contradict men, and it's ridiculous. And the idea that there are people who are advocating for going back to that is insane.
Yeah.
And it points to the problem that there are also some women who are advocating for that thing as well.
Oh yeah.
And
Which
the
is,
nature.
I mean, I've seen
I've heard women over the last 3-4 years, and I think, how in the world is any woman in this world supporting this moron? And yet they do.
Well, and I'll
crazy.
tell
In the
you, I
last-
had a
in-
teacher. We're all old enough to remember ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment,
Yeah.
which did not pass in the United States. And my reading teacher in 6th grade, Mrs. Jones, talked to us about why she didn't want ERA to pass. And she said, because I want men to think that they have to take care of me. I want them to open doors for me. I want them to think
Well,
that
that didn't make
we're going to
that
have children.
illegal.
She had an
Exactly.
appreciation for gentlemen.
But yeah, I mean, but
Exactly.
it's not even that we've heard it over the last 3 or 4 years. I've heard it over the last 3 or 4 days where people are saying, "Oh well, Travis Kelce and
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift have gotten engaged, and Taylor now needs to become a trad wife." And I'm like, what
Yeah.
in her career has ever led you to believe that she's going to become Miss
Have you-
Homemaker? And
Have you listened to the New Heights podcast that she was on?
I did not.
It is amazing.
I heard
first of
it
all,
really,
Go ahead.
I think a lot of people are have this, she is this impossible goddess to, that is
Yeah.
on high. And I think from what I hear, the podcast really humanized her and
It did very much so. The other thing about it is that I strongly believe that even if something's not your thing, if it's that huge culturally, you owe it to yourself to be aware of what's going on. So she said a bunch of interesting things in there. Some of them were amazing. Like she talked about how little football she knew. And so when she first started talking to Travis, she's like, it must have been amazing in the Super Bowl to line up across the field and be on the field at the same time as your brother. And he's like, well, my brother plays offense and I play offense. So we're not on the field at the same time. And she's like, I don't understand. So that's how little football she understood.
Cool.
But then, she talked about it, and she talked about, being educated into it and stuff like that. And they get into more stuff. One of the things that she says is that, this was very interesting to me too. She's like, it was apparent to me that Travis knew my music, because the thing is, if you listen to my music, if you listen to my songs, you know exactly how to be the man who will get me to marry you, because it's all written down there on the albums.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought that was awesome. I thought
Yeah.
it was a great statement, and I'm very excited. I don't know how I'm going to get into the wedding, but I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, no, there was a collective gasp at work this week when the news started hitting people's phones. I actually had to pop it into our work chat I was like, oh my God, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged. I'm all verklempt.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I actually had to teach some of the younger people on my team what verklempt meant. And I was
Nice.
like,
I hope you played the Mike Myers
coffee
clip.
talk, coffee
Yeah,
talk,
exactly. Talk
talk
amongst
amongst
yourselves.
yourselves.
The Holy Roman Empire was neither holy nor Roman. Discuss.
All right, y'all. You ready for the quiz?
Let's see the
Yes.
We
quiz.
got Brandy back. We got Brandy back, so I'm confident that now this
We'll
is
win.
a different quiz.
We'll
because
win now
this-
since she's here.
We've
Yeah.
got. It is not a traditional end of week quiz. It is the
Well,
end
it's
of
Labor Day
summer
weekend, we should point out.
quiz.
Are you guys doing anything for the Labor Day weekend? We got Monday left.
Well, I'm off this week, so
All right.
there's supposedly a stamp show in Baltimore that I might go check out on Friday. So
Comic Con is in
my-
Baltimore right now too.
Dave, when you were in State College, did you head to Bellefonte to the?
that was the National Philatelic Association. Yeah, I went there.
Yes, their offices are right here.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
collect
that's,
stamps, Dave?
that's why I went up there.
Cool.
Dave, do you collect
by the
stamps?
way, I'd just
Yeah.
like to say, audience, when Dave was here in town checking out the Philatelic Society, did he call me to go to dinner?
I sent you
no, he didn't. No.
I sent you an instant message, and yeah, there's a stamp album right there. So
Wait, open up a random page for us.
these are Honduran stamps.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Dave, if I could find my stamp album, I would give it to you. When I was a kid, my dad used to get letters from all around the world requesting free prints of his publications. And so I had all the stamps.
Like Dan, I have some stamps I could send to you. I have the original Hannes Wagner.
Don't send them. Make them come get them, Joe.
I have the Hannes Wagner rookie stamp that is
What?
somewhat
that's the
valuable.
ball. That's a baseball card.
You made the baseball card, the tobacco card?
I'm kidding.
I
Guys,
wish.
I'm yanking your chain, guys.
Honus Wagner.
Yep.
Now, the reason why that Honus Wagner card was so valuable is that it was, as kids, we used to get the baseball cards and they were in the wax paper with the little
Tops.
nasty piece of gum with it.
Yeah.
The original cards were that set of cards was actually part of a tobacco company, and he was very much against tobacco. And he caused that set to be recalled, or his card to be pulled out of it. So that's why that card was so valuable.
The next time any of you go to Boston, the museum that you haven't been to, and it's one of my favorite museums in the world, is the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. It's famous because 7 paintings were stolen from it, probably in an inside job. And Miss Gardner, when she left the museum to her trust, she dictated that the way that she had set up the pictures can never be changed. So now they just have 7 empty spots with a note, this picture stolen in 1990, whatever. Pretty awesome. But she was a huge Red Sox fan at the turn of the century, so like 1904, and has a lot of Red Sox memorabilia. My favorite episode of what's the Antiques Roadshow?
Antiques Roadshow, yeah.
Took place in Massachusetts, where a woman came in and she opened up this thing, and her great grandmother ran the boarding house where all the Red Sox lived. And she had baseball cards from the 1912 Red Sox World Series winning team.
Oh my goodness.
With all of the players. However, in order to fit them in, her grandmother had actually cut the cards so that they would fit on the thing. It was still worth a bit, but it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this quiz.
Let's do the quiz. Although I will end our Intel discussion with the question is, now that we own part of Intel, every time they say the Central Intelligence Agency, do they have to play just because it has Intel inside of it?
Exactly. Remember that logo I made.
Yeah, the little logo flows around. Yeah. So summer quiz. This is not our normal weekly quiz. So this is all about the end of summer or stuff that happens during summer. So we've got a roller coaster. We've got a hot dog. Nothing says summer quite like a hot dog.
Absolutely.
And lemonade, that cool, refreshing drink.
Lemonade.
All right, question number 1. An amusement park is a great place to have some fun as summer winds down. Where was America's first roller coaster built? Cleveland, New York, Detroit, or Miami? I think it's Cleveland.
I think it's Cleveland, but if I had to guess, might think about Coney Island.
I'm guessing Cleveland also.
All right, let's go Cleveland. Oh, wait. Let's see if Jeremy knows.
And Brandy.
Brandy
All right.
says Coney Island.
Yeah. So Jeremy's first college is Case Western in Cleveland. So it'd be interesting to see if he has a thought on this.
Case Western.
But, yeah. All right. Didn't
Jeremy
get
says
back.
Cleveland.
Jeremy says
Oh.
Cleveland. I'm sticking with Cleveland.
All right, I think we should
Sorry,
go Cleveland as
Brandy.
well.
Does Cleveland rock? No.
Oh, it was Coney Island. Damn it.
Yeah.
Brandy was
Usually
right.
it gives you the check mark
Brandy.
and tells you which one it was. Okay, so yeah, Coney Island, Brooklyn, New York. Brandy, we went against Brandy and we lost.
Yeah.
We have learned a lesson. today.
Don't bet against Brandy.
Yeah. Question number 2. You could also beat the summer heat inside a cool movie theater. Which movie is considered to be the first summer blockbuster? Star Wars,
No, I don't want
E.T.,
you.
Jaws, or Jurassic Park?
What was
I
the
don't want you to
second
tell
one?
me the answer. I want you to give me a quote from the movie.
We're going to
Can
need
you-
a bigger boat.
Can you name
That's
them
good.
all again?
Star
Wars, E.T., Jaws, or Jurassic Park?
My quote from the movie is, "We got a taxidermy man at home. He gonna have a heart attack when he sees what I brought him."
I got to go with Jaws just because of the age.
It is Jaws.
Yeah, Jaws came out before Star Wars. Star Wars was indeed a summer blockbuster. But yeah, Jaws came out in 1975. There we go. Correct.
What's
June
crazy
20th,
about it is,
1975.
at that point in time, Steven Spielberg was 28 years old.
Wow.
So,
Gee,
trivia.
Yes.
What was Steven Spielberg's first TV or movie production that caused him great acclaim?
What is that TRX thing?
No, that's George Lucas.
Oh, George Lucas. Yeah.
THX.
THX.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. It was TV. Early to mid 70s.
I don't know.
I stumped the group. I stumped them.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
And
so-
Brandy actually already got the next question. She's reading.
Okay.
If you plan on hosting a barbecue, make sure you have enough food to go around. How many hot dogs are typically eaten in the United States between Memorial Day and Labor Day? We actually eat one hot dog, almost a hot dog per person on this planet.
And I recently read something, well, not recently, but I read where for every hot dog you eat, you shorten your life by 7 minutes.
I mean, I'd be dead. I'd already be
I
dead.
realized after I
That's
read that
vegan bullshit.
I should have died in 1649. Anyway,
Well, they say that every time you masturbate, that you add 2 hours to your life. So,
I'll live forever.
I think
I'll live
yeah,
forever.
I think I've balanced that out a little bit.
So back to Steven Spielberg. What was his debut?
Yeah, what was
Duel.
Yes, Dad Fishman. And who starred in it? Who starred in Duel?
I don't know.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Dennis. No, I know it. From Macmillan and Wife.
Yes.
Dennis.
No, different show. From
oh.
Big Ben.
I don't know.
Or I'm sorry, Gentle Ben. Dennis Weaver.
Dennis Weaver. That's
yes.
Macmillan and Wife, isn't it?
Macmillan and Wife was Rock Hudson and Susan St. James.
All right. Dennis
This
Weaver
is
was
why.
in some other detective
This
show.
is why you have me on this show.
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
McLeod. Dennis Weaver was McLeod.
Yes.
Question number 4. Watermelon is a cookout staple. About what percentage of a watermelon is water? 50%, 75%, 90%, or 100%? We know it's not 100%.
I got to say 75.
I'm going to say
90.
Oh, see, the problem is that there's rind.
I'm still
Um,
going to say 90 because I think how much of the human body is water?
75%.
Yeah.
But if you cut us open, we're not fleshy like the inside of a watermelon.
But we're basically water.
I've eaten
Brandy
a
has
lot of
spoken.
watermelons.
Brandy has spoken.
All right, let's go 90%. Since
Go
David
go
and Brandy
Brandy.
agree.
Correct.
Nice
Average
job.
watermelon is about 92% water.
Does Brandy
Um,
ever let us down? I don't think so.
We let
There
Brandy
was a
down.
day. Yes.
All right. Question number 5. Labor Day weekend is a great time to hit the beach. Which state is known as the Ocean State? Which I think is kind of ironic, but
I know this.
California, Florida, Maine, or Rhode Island? I know this one too.
I'm going to say Rhode Island.
Rhode
are
Island is
correct, sir.
correct.
Which is, I mean, it's
What are
strange
the other
because
states? What are the other states known as?
Well, what were they
California
again?
is the Bear Flag Republic, or the
No,
Sunshine
California is the Golden State.
Golden
Yes.
State. Florida is
Sunshine State.
Yes.
is the humidity state.
Yes.
Maine is the Black Bear
Maine
state.
is a vacation land.
I think it's the lobster state.
Vacation land.
Lobster
Maine is
state.
vacation land.
Yes.
Florida is America's penis.
Florida is America's penis. Mhm.
Yes.
And
No
a big one
Rida.
at that.
It is
One.
Rhode Island. The Ocean State is the official nickname of Rhode Island. While it is the smallest state in the United States, Rhode Island boasts some 400 miles of shoreline. Most of it is rocks. Like I've been to Rhode Island once, and like every beach we went to was just nothing but rocks. Like drag your beaches, people.
If you're a hip kid in New England, at some point in time, you go to a party on Block Island, and that is pretty damn cool. It's a big island.
A lady I work with just went to a wedding on Block Island.
It's a cool place to party.
Yeah,
That beach is
All
not
right.
Rhode Island.
that doesn't look like Rhode Island at all.
No.
No.
Question number 6. Speaking of states, we are in the heart of state fair season. Which fair is the largest in the United States?
Ooh.
Iowa State Fair, Minnesota State Fair, State Fair of Texas, or the Wisconsin State Fair?
Wow.
I have to tell a joke.
Uh-oh.
So a businessman is traveling, and he flies into Dallas. He checks into the hotel, and the manager takes him up to the room with us, and it's like, "Oh my God, this is the biggest hotel room I've ever seen." He says, "Well, sir, everything is bigger in Texas." He's like, "Wow." So then he goes down to the restaurant, and he orders a hamburger and a Coke, and the hamburger is 18 inches across, and the Coke comes in a giant bucket. He's like, "Oh my God, these are the largest proportions I've ever seen in my life." And the waiter says, "Well, sir, everything's bigger in Texas." And so then he, is drinking this bucket full of soda, and after a while, fills his bladder up, and he says to the waiter, he's like, "Which way is the men's room?" The waiter says, "Go down the hall, right, left, right." Guy goes down the hall. He goes left, right, left. He ends up in the pool room, and he trips and he falls in. He's like, "Don't flush! Don't flush!"
No.
Nice. Brady got it off the joke, I think. But yeah, the Texas State Fair, the State Fair
I think it's also Texas.
is the largest. Yes, Big Tex welcomes nearly 2.4 million visitors to the State Fair of Texas in 2024. And although the Iowa State Fair is not the largest, it is home to the famous butter cow sculpture, which
The Texas State Fair is pretty awesome. The Cotton
So-
Bowl is on its grounds.
yes,
My question is, how does Brandy know all this shit?
Brandy knows everything.
She does.
Experience.
All right, question number 7. Many cities and towns hold parades over Labor Day weekend. Which city held the nation's first? Chicago, Detroit, New York, or Philadelphia?
I would guess Chicago in this case.
I'm
but I
gonna
have
guess New
nothing to
York.
base it on.
I want to guess Detroit.
I'm gonna say New York. Oh,
Wait,
Brandy Brandy agrees with me.
I'm going New York then.
All right.
Correct. America's first Labor Day parade occurred on the morning of September 5th, 1882 in New York City.
Which means they all went and rode the roller coaster afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Reports at the time put the total number of marchers between 10,000 and 20,000 men and women. Wow.
Impressive.
That is awesome. Question number 8. Lemonade is a classic summer drink. Which country is credited with inventing the refreshing beverage? I actually know this one.
Really?
It is the choices are Egypt, England, India, or Madagascar.
I would have guessed England
I'm going to guess
just because gin and tonics, but
I'm saying it's got to be Egypt or Madagascar. Brandy, help me here.
I mean, right.
I'm going to say,
Go
well,
ahead, David.
so it's Egypt, and it's because the
They're so old.
and Brandy agrees with me. It is Egypt,
All right.
because really lemons weren't. I mean, outside of the fact that England took over everything,
Right.
lemons really aren't native to England. And I think it's a much older drink than before England was even founded. So most
Right.
historians trace the origins of lemonade to ancient Egypt. Kashkab, a drink made with barley, mint, pepper, and citron leaf, dates to 10th century Egypt. Wow.
So
It didn't have any lemons, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
I mean, this is. I would not call that fucking lemonade.
I wouldn't either.
So it's lemonade.
You know,
dash
you need a
Egypt
Trump
Yeah.
quote.
Arrow.com. Right.
You need a Trump soundtrack. Fake CNN news.
Fake news. Fake news. Yeah. Question number 9. According to an antiquated social custom, what color
This one I
clothing
know.
should you not wear after Labor Day? This one's an easy one. And Dan, you can't wear that tomorrow. Well, after tomorrow.
Yeah.
It is white. Fashion experts say the rule of not wearing white was one of many 19th century style customs used to distinguish the upper and middle classes. White was tied to summer vacations, a privilege only a few could afford. Yeah, that one was stupid. I mean, why would you wear white if, I mean, yes, the heat aspect of it, but you're eating hot dogs. You're eating one of the 7 billion hot dogs. You're gonna
When
get
I
ketchup
went
and
to-
mustard all over yourself.
You're going
or-
to get ketchup on your white shirt.
Yeah.
When I went to school in England, I was out playing tennis on the tennis courts with my roommate, and the headmaster came down from his office. He could see us, just like, a 5-minute walk. And he said, "Well, Mr. Fishman, just to let you know that here we prefer that you wear white on the tennis court." And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know." And he's like, "Well, when you go back to the States, you can tell them the right way." That's it. That's the
There you
story.
go. I mean, yeah, okay, I get that. Finally, when does the summer officially end in the Northern Hemisphere? September 2nd, September 12th, September 22nd, or October 1st? Brandy, of course, had the answer. at
September
22nd.
22nd.
Do you remember the 21st night of September? I apologize to everybody.
2 months before the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah,
Yes.
autumnal equinox occur. That's a great term. The autumnal equinox will occur on Monday, September 22nd this year. So just enjoy that. Enjoy the long days. It'll be about a month, a little over a month, and we'll start doing the. We get to fall back for that hour and lose that afternoon hour.
or
which
is it
sucks.
fall forward onto your face? It might be fall forward.
Spring forward, fall back. So we're going back an hour.
It's
Yeah.
just a sad.
I have a feeling, though, that this will be the last one. Trump's going to get some easy points by issuing an executive order to remove daily
Oh
savings.
no, I was thinking we were just going to have nuclear war and then all time wouldn't matter. So
No nuclear war until the end of his term, when he doesn't care anymore.
yeah, well, we don't know when is the end of his term. It
the
sounded like it was happening this weekend with all the
The The health news.
Where's Donald? Yeah, like
The,
you know.
Yeah,
The-
I
the-
think that stuff is just hype, but I don't
The
know.
Well,
lunatic-
he's not looking healthy.
No, he's not. And the lunatic does have the nuclear codes. That's scary.
Yeah. So, I mean, he may go out in a blaze of glory. I don't know.
Hmm.
But
Blaze
anyway,
of glory. What a description.
I mean, it will be a blaze. That's for sure.
Kablam.
So, anyway,
Line from
that's
one
it.
of my favorite songs.
Good
We
night,
go
all.
down in a blaze of glory. I think that's Bon Jovi, right?
Anchovies. I don't know.
Yes.
Mm.
All right, David, are we having a show next week, or are you going to be on vacation?
I'm going to be on vacation, so no show next week. We'll, unless there's like, you know, and Trump actually kicks the bucket, maybe we'll get together and talk.
I'll
about
tell you
that.
what,
But,
that works
if not-
well. I got to work on my lines anyway. Good timing.
I know Joe.
right.
Joe is starring in, what is the name of your play? It's very.
It is
sensuous.
called this. The play is called The Sensuous Senator, and it is being held at the Playhouse in McConnellstown, about 5
right.
minutes south of Huntingdon, PA. And this gentleman right here happens to have a role, and I'm surrounded by amazingly talented people around me. I'm just trying to come up to their speed. So, if
Oh, I
you're
thought you were
in my
talking
neck
about
of-
us.
if you're in my neck of the woods, come and see the show. It is over the last 2 weekends of September. The Sensuous Senator.
The sensuous
right.
senator.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm a real slime ball politician, which means I'm an R or a D.
Politician being a slime ball?
Yeah, it's true. And
What?
and I'm sleeping around, and I'm the worst possible person you'd ever want to like, but we bring a lot of humor to it. So
There you go.
it's
There
kind of
you
a
go.
cool role.
Well,
I
thanks
tell you,
to
It makes me regret the fact that we didn't get to talk about the Fox people talking about the prettiest first lady and
Oh.
Melania Trump. being
Oh,
on
that'd
Dumbo.
be fun.
We'll
mean-
do that. We'll have to
Yeah.
do that next week.
Yeah,
I will
sounds
look
good.
forward to
All
that.
right. Well, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Carol, Brandy, Jeremy, even the dudes that we're talking about,
Right.
or whatever that.
Right. I think that was Falco. That was the Rocky
Cartoon.
Amadeus guy.
Yeah.
And
the other
thanks-
guy that
thanks,
farted.
Falco.
Yeah.
and
but
Nina from 99 Luftballons.
Luftballons. Yeah. Anyway, apparently YouTube has a new hype function. So if you think this was great, go into YouTube and hype it. That would absolutely help us out. Get more eyeballs on the show and more people in the chat. And Janice, yes, thank you for joining us. Also, AJ, so good to see everybody in the chat.
And Ari in for a little while.
Ari in for a little bit while. Hopefully, we can get her or his stuff all squared away. They can
Sounds good.
next week. So, all right, we'll talk to everybody in a couple weeks.
Good
Take
night,
care, everybody.
everybody.
See you then, everyone. Good night.